I've really liked the last 2 seasons of Splatoon 3. We've gotten like 4 okay to genuinely good maps, some okay weapon kits, and I'm looking forward to next season too. Even though we're getting only 1 map, it's actually got stage gimmicks that is one of the biggest breaths of fresh air we have gotten in the whole lifespan of this game. And to me, 1 good map is better than 2 mid maps. And Nintendo is finally ending Squiffer oppression by giving us God's gift to man, a Squiffer with Auto Bomb and Zipcaster. Kids, Nintendo gave us a Squiffer with the sole intention of hitting 6 Squiffer clips. It's actually required by law to squid bag whenever you hit a Zipcaster Squiffer kill because that's just how badass it's gonna be. I wanted to talk about all this first because I genuinely do not just want to piss all over Splatoon 3. While year 1 of Splatoon 3 has cemented in my mind this will never be my favorite Splatoon, I don't want to underestimate the great work that's been done over the last 2 going on 3 seasons. Obviously, 12-year-olds will be 12-year-olds and fight tooth and nail to defend their inanimate object, but today I want to go into detail on how Splatoon 3's seasonal model objectively failed the game. And seriously, I mean like an insane failure. I don't want to say it killed the game because the core fans of this game didn't really leave, well, a lot of them didn't. So how did Splatoon 3's seasonal model fail the game? To start, we're going to look at some numbers here. In case you're unaware, Splatoon 3's launch was absolutely insane. Not a lot of people expected Splatoon 3 to sell as many copies as it did, let alone selling so many so fast. This being because 3 is a sequel to a sequel on the same console the first sequel is already on, coming out just 3 years after Splatoon 2 wrapped up its update cycle. Despite literally all odds, in 2022 everybody wanted this game. Between launch in March 2023, a 7-month time span, Nintendo's baby franchise sold 10, almost 11 million copies, which at the time was 3 million copies less than Splatoon 2 did in 5 years. That was, for lack of better words, batshit crazy. So if you were worried about Splatoon 4 not happening, that about $660 million bump in Nintendo's bottom line solidified we'll get it one day. However, that's where all the good comes to a very fast, violent, and abrupt halt. We didn't get another update on Splatoon 3 sales for about another 9 months. That's 3 seasons worth of content. Fresh, Sizzle, Drizzle, and Chill Season 2024 all happened and started between when we got a sales update. If you had to guess how many copies of Splatoon 3 were sold in this 9-month period, what do you think it would be? Based off of how well it sold, maybe you'd think we'd be sitting at 15 million copies sold, 20 million, maybe even 25 million. Between March through December 2023, Splatoon 3 sold 1,040,000 copies over 9 months. We currently sit at around 11.71 million copies of Splatoon 3 sold in total. Maybe 11.9 million by now, but at the rate the game's growing, there's literally no way we've crossed 12 million. Let's just remember this one more time. We went from 10 million in 7 months to 1 million in 9 months. Obviously, the game's gonna dip a bit in sales after launch, but this is not normal, like at all. How did this happen? I believe this happened because Nintendo completely missed the mark with Splatoon 3's seasonal model. Let's not underestimate or understate how good Splatoon 3's launch was. Debatably the best campaign we've gotten in the series, Octo is still better in my opinion. The biggest selection of maps available at launch in the series, Salmon Run was way better and actually playable when you wanted to play it. Nintendo couldn't have given us a better launch. After launch, it all fell apart. Unless Nintendo wants to do a massive 4-map drop in the last season of 3, it'll end support with less maps than 2. It'll take 5 completely new maps to have more new maps than 2 had. We're a few days from side order dropping, which definitely will spike Splatoon 3's sales a bit, but it's not going to be the thing that sells 2 million people to drop the initial 60 on 3, then another 25 on the expansion pass to play side order when 3's free updates weren't even enough to sell 2 million people to drop the initial 60. I could keep babbling on about the pitfalls of 3, but there's one thing in particular I think is the main reason this game fell off so much, at least in sales. Year 1 of Splatoon 3, straight up, was not good. Now, I'm kinda old, not really a veteran, I didn't play 1, but I started playing the series during Splatoon 2's first year of update. Like, very tail end, June 2018 to be exact, a few days before Octo Expansion came out. Any of my older dudes remember when sloshers were meta? Those were the days. I bring this up to contrast Splatoon 2's update cycle compared to 3's. Updates were random, didn't have any rhyme or reason when they dropped, but damn it, when they dropped, we were in for literal peak. One last little story before I take the nostalgia goggles off. I remember June 2019 when Sheldon's picks were dropped with like little to no warning, trying to rush as many matches as possible with a new weapon before having to go off to school. We didn't get anything like that with 3. We know/knew when and what we were getting with every content drop. Every Splatoon has been a pseudo live service game. However, 1 and 2 were much more of an emphasis on the live service, and 3 had a much heavier emphasis on the pseudo part of that. I'll explain what I mean. Splatoon lives and dies by its living, evolving world. So when Splatoon 3 came out trying to kinda sorta mimic the Fortnite seasonal model, they ended up landing closer to a Halo Infinite than a Fortnite. Fortnite seasons work because there's something new there all the time, not just when the season drops. Regardless of how you feel about drip feeding content in the games, it works. And it worked well for the first 2 Splatoon games. Splatoon 3 tried to switch this up, but Nintendo didn't commit all the way to what needs to come when a game does the seasonal model, in turn leaving us with content drops once every 3 months with a patch halfway through the season. Maybe a few extra depending on how well Nintendo's doing getting players their big run rewards. Maybe, and I mean maybe here, this would have been slightly more acceptable if we got seasons that were consistent bangers. What we got instead was every single season, causing a tizzy on a small to massive scale. Remember Chill Season 23 when Nintendo gave us the most boring map to date and kicked off the Tetris block meme? Fresh Season 23 giving us the first worst special in the series? Sizzle Season when they announced one of the most hype things in the series with challenge mode, had the community unanimously in agreement that this was awesome for a grand total of 24 hours before announcing they hadn't learned a thing from Splatoon 2 Salmon Run and are having challenge modes run in originally these stupid every now and then 2-hour intervals, sometimes taking place at 5 in the morning. Maybe even earlier if Nintendo decided they hate your region. Drizzle Season 24 I think is the least controversial, having a really great map and a pretty good map, and the long-awaited return of Special Splatfest, and even better than they were in Splatoon 2, which in my opinion was when Nintendo finally started turning things around with the seasonal model. But at this point we were a full year into the game, 3 seasons of controversial divisive drops, and brother, I didn't even talk about the still ongoing continuous disappointment that's been Splatoon 3's weapon kits. This was the period of time we saw Splatoon 3 tank in sales, and despite seasons being better now, they're still not completely free of controversy. Chill Season 24 with the honestly kind of hilarious fuck you to people with sensory issues. How that thing passed testing and no one thought the noise was totally okay is just baffling. And now we've got next season coming out with like 2 good weapon kits and only 1 new map. Not a single season of this game has had something the majority of community can say has been good. You can feel however you want about the content of these seasons, but the objective truth is that every single one has led to far too many people being pissed about them. These aren't people that hate Splatoon, these are people that love Splatoon absolutely pissed that Nintendo is not doing the right thing. Obviously you can't please everyone, but this much discord about the game we all love is not normal. Now let me ask you this. Who has been marketing this game post 2022? Because up until Side Order's release window, it wasn't Nintendo. It was us, the community. And what was there to advertise to our friends to buy this game over? Most of the maps looking the same, Nintendo fumbling so many weapon kits, the dry spells midway between seasons. You could talk about challenge mode, and maybe, just maybe, if you guys planned hard enough, yours and your friends' schedules could line up to both play at the same time. Splatoon lives and dies by its living world, and it lives and dies by its community. The community supports this game harder than Nintendo, and the community functions at its best when Nintendo is giving us their best, and what I've seen over the last year was consistent division over what Nintendo has been giving us. Say what you want about the quality of these updates, but all of these factors came together to give us, more importantly Nintendo, a like 90% dip in sales. To finish, the Splatoon 3's seasonal model objectively failed this game. That does not mean that Splatoon 3 right now is a bad game. If you haven't bought Splatoon 3 and have been on the fence about it, don't let the first year's problems turn you off from it. Splatoon 3 is out of its growing pains and is genuinely a great shooter despite the flaws that it'll have for the rest of its life. If the game seems interesting to you, I guarantee you will have fun with it, and there's still a solid 6 months of content drops to come, which will probably be the best ones we've gotten so far. I get that the bar has been set pretty low here, but seriously, as someone who dropped this game for a while and came back, I have not been disappointed with what I've come back to. And with Side Order dropping in a few days, maybe it's out as of now when you're watching this, there has never been a better time to pick this game up. Seriously. There has never been a better time to pick this game up. It sucks that year 1 wasn't nearly as good as it should have been, but it's in the past now, and what we have today is a really good game, and you can probably pick it up for really cheap pre-owned too. I hope Nintendo drops the seasonal model for Splatoon 4 and reverts to the fun chaos of random drops we had in Splatoon 1 and 2. Maybe then we can put the trauma of Nintendo hyping us up only to let us down and be stuck with that for 3 months behind and leave it in the memories of Splatoon 3 year 1. That's all I gotta say about that though. Do your YouTube due diligence by subscribing, and let me know in the comments how you felt about Splatoon 3 Year 1, especially all my brothers and sisters who played during Splatoon 2's update cycle. I care about all your opinions, but I'm really curious about how you guys have felt going from Splatoon 2's content updates to 3's. I think I've made my opinion on it clear, and I want to see if Splatoon's just made my brain rot and like turn completely insane, or I'm not the only one feeling this way. But anyways, gamers, that's it from me. See ya.